Okay, wow, we are here, and look at all of these comments and all these people. It's so awesome to see you all. I am really, really excited. Welcome back to, I guess we are Carnivore After Dark, but on Tuesday. This is part 2 of our conversation about carnivore vice. So last week on Thursday, we were talking about some of the substances that that people use on a carnivore diet, and we were talking about their, their effects, their impacts, and just like real life reality. Obviously, so last week we mostly talked about alcohol, which, we made clear is not a health product, but nonetheless.
I got very passionate about it.
Yeah.
Last week. Forgive me.
But nonetheless, it's something that people use. So we need to discuss, how you use it, how to be safe with it, and what are the effects, especially while following a carnivore diet. So I know the one thing we said is, for alcohol is you will get drunker off of the smallest amount. So be careful about that. If you take away nothing from this, do not head out in the town with your boys and drink a 6-pack of beer, because you will die. It will be awful. So that's kind of the highlights of last week. But tonight we're going to continue on. We just started talking about nicotine, and then caffeine, CBD, THC.
Another highlight.
Mm-hmm.
Another highlight from last week was just don't drink alcohol.
It's really that simple.
On the carnivore diet, we were just like, just don't do it.
Yeah, we encourage you. We encourage you not to, but we understand the realities what people do. But
we're not sitting up here saying go ahead and do it. We're not doing that. Mm-hmm. We're suggesting that you don't, that you abstain from alcohol. That's our suggestion to you.
Yeah. So So now tonight we're going to talk about. So nicotine was where we started last week, and then hopefully we're going to get to we'll try to move quicker, and we'll get to caffeine as well, and CBD and THC, and then if there are others, I hear more and more people starting to talk about kratom. I don't even really know what that is, but people are doing that. I've heard quite a few people or seen discussions of it in Reddit, so I don't know. So you ask us if you've heard of these things or if you have questions. So let's dive right in. Nicotine.
Arian was telling us what black and slims or browns and thins or licorice sticks or something.
You're like, I remember the exact sentence. I remember the exact sentence where we were on Thursday, and I was dying to know the information, and it's killing me that we cannot just pick right up there. So,
but wait. Arian, tell us about highs and lows.
So.
Or whatever.
So, for those of you here who may not have been here before, we were starting to talk. Well, we were all said that we all had smoked, and so Deborah, me, and Arian all smoked. But Arian did not smoke regular cigarettes. He smoked Black and Milds. Is that correct, Arian?
Was that Black and Milds?
Yeah. So it was.
So go ahead.
Black and Milds. I smoked cloves and these other kinds of cigarillos called blacks.
Cigarillos.
Yeah. All cigarillos. I think I maybe smoked cigarettes like 3 times in my life.
So a cigarillo is a cigar.
It's like a small cigar.
Okay. And you inhale it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've inhaled cigars too. They don't people say they will burst your heart or something like that. It's not true.
There'd be a lot of people with bursted hearts.
Right.
Walking around.
Because everybody would just accidentally inhale the cigar, or what if you cough or something happens while you're smoking, and then you go and then you just die,
and then you just explode. It was like Kill Bill, the heart.
Or like the alien that just pops out of your.
It's funny that you say that. I've been watching Alien. I never saw any of them. So my brother and I, we've been watching them every once a week. We've been catching up. So we just finished Alien 3. So
I haven't seen any Aliens.
I suggest you do. They're actually quite good. Yeah.
I think I've seen the first one.
This is definitely a carnivore movie. It sounds to me like.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%.
These things.
Not a vegetable around.
Not one.
Nuh-uh. Yeah.
So yeah, I smoked all those. Never did cigarettes. They were disgusting.
So were you addicted to these cigarellos? Like Ada and I were addicted to nicotine? To cigarettes?
Yeah, but I don't know if it was in the same way that you guys were. Like, nicotine is addictive, period. But I wasn't addicted to the point of like needing to smoke multiple times a day or anything. Like, it was a very strong habit for me. And this also may just be me, period. Like, I even with my alcohol, like, it was very easy to not drink during the day, and drinking was a thing that happened in the evening and at night. Whereas some people, their alcoholism gets to a point where they're like sneaking drinks to work and stuff like that. I never got that far. Maybe I'm just like genetically lucky or something. So yeah, it was the same thing with the smoking. Like, I could smoke. It'd be like I'd get off work and I'd want to smoke, like take off my clothes, relax. I feel like smoking.
I feel like smoking naked.
I heard that too. Right. I gotta take off my clothes and smoke.
Wait.
I like to do a lot of things naked. Sure, take off the clothes and then
smoke.
All right, so I'm gonna open myself up to every joke today.
I mean, you just put a picture in our heads, like, okay, sure.
Yeah. you set yourself up, Arian.
Right. I guess my brain's not working today in that way, so I keep doing it because I did it with Seabliss earlier in the chat. But I mean, take off my work clothes.
Oh, and then put other clothes on, or just
put on
your smoking jacket.
Right.
Even better, like Hef, just walking around the mansion looking fly.
Under the smoking jacket, I'm naked, but that's under the smoking jacket.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
So yeah, that would be like, it would be like then, or if I'm at a party or something, or sometimes right before bed too, which was also a little weird because they were relaxing.
Okay. Well, I think for us it was always smoking. Wake up in the middle of the night, smoking.
Yeah, that sounds annoying.
And I had to quit. I never forgot to smoke. Did you ever get to smoke, A-Day?
No. No. I was reminiscing about how, so one year there was a snowstorm in New York. I guess it was like maybe 2010 or 2011, and it utterly brought the city to a standstill because it ended up being a far worse storm, and they didn't declare a state of emergency, so buses and stuff were out in the street, and they were getting stuck, so it blocked the whole street, and then people were just abandoning their cars, and then when it was time for the snowplows to come through, they got stuck, and so
I remember that storm.
Right, so the streets for like 4 days. But that night, I realized I didn't have cigarettes. And so I decided to walk to the corner store. It was 1 block away. It took me 15 minutes to make my way through that snow one way to get that pack of cigarettes. I mean, man, I was like, I cannot believe what I am willing to do for this. The word to the wise, like, you gotta quit. So, yeah. Good times. But so glad everything is over and I don't smoke anymore, and I highly encourage everyone to quit. Now, like, we've been reminiscing here about the good days and the smoking, but so let's move on because I don't want to trigger anybody
I hated
either.
Smoking though.
I
hated smoking.
I loved it. If it didn't kill me, I'd still be smoking today. If it didn't kill me and cost $1 million, I'd still be doing it. But
as I mentioned, I resented it. I resented smoking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but let's dive right in. So, aside from the obvious information that we know, smoking's bad for you. Like inhaling combusting material is damaging to the lungs, cause cancer. Like there's a lot of research. This is not new information. But there are a lot of ways that people are consuming nicotine now, separate and apart from the combusting. And I had this question because I started keto before I quit smoking, and I didn't quit vaping until I vaped nicotine for a while, and I didn't quit that until after I had started Carnivore. So I had the question, what is wrong with nicotine? Like, I understand what's wrong with inhaling burning cigarettes, but what is wrong with nicotine? And there's not a lot of research there that was easily accessible. And, you ask anybody and everyone's like, oh, cigarettes are bad. And I'm like, no, that's not the question. No, you must quit. But you can take, a patch or gum or whatever to help you, but you got to quit. So it was hard to get that bit of information, but there's some information that I found that I thought might be useful to people, and I know that there are still smokers out there, so we should discuss that.
So before that, or real quick, how was you guys' experience going to the doctor while you smoked? You tell them you smoke and they're just like, well, you have to quit. You have to quit now. Do you need a patch? I can prescribe you a patch. You need to quit.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
That.
I'd often say, I smoke sometimes.
I don't remember what I said. I don't remember. I know that when I decided
to her doctor.
I don't remember her even asking me. I do remember when I quit smoking, I wrote the Ontario government. I wrote the Ontario government a letter in the mail, like in snail mail. I wrote the government a letter that I wanted to quit smoking and that I needed help to do that. And they sent back to me a whole package on how to quit smoking. And it was so helpful. In particular, there was this one booklet that talked about the countdown to quitting smoking. So I had set a date in my calendar. It told me how far in advance to set this date that I was going to quit, and that I had to smoke as much as I wanted to up until that date. And so the whole premise was that I was smoking and preparing myself for this date. And then it said, even days before the date that you're going to quit, keep smoking. You have to keep smoking. And it was bang on. Just days before I knew my quit date, I was like, I'm done with this. I don't want to do this anymore. But I kept smoking. And then 6 a.m. that day, I had set the alarm. My last cigarette, I had it. I did use the nicotine gum, which I want to talk about a little bit afterward, but I had counted down to that time and I was so excited. Like that method of quitting made me such a willing participant in saying goodbye to cigarettes. It was such an effective method and I was excited for that day.
Thank
you,
That's
Ontario
great.
Government. Thank you.
That's great.
Canada beats the U.S. again.
Not New York. Not New York, I gotta say. I didn't like Michael Bloomberg, but one good thing he did was outlaw cigarettes outright and then provide 3 months of support to quit smoking. So all of the patches, gum, the gum, and also a hotline so you can call somebody at any time of day and say, I want to smoke. And then the state sort of picked up that program. So they cut, I think later on they didn't provide as much of the patches, but you could continually re-enroll. So I just did that. And then they had people who would call me, it never ended. I would just get a call, maybe every 3 weeks, maybe a month, hey, did you quit yet? How you doing? Can I give you some more support?
You volunteered as the hotline person?
No, I was receiving those calls Because every time I thought I want to quit.
Oh, they would call you. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, you know, I don't get calls now, but probably a year after I quit, I was still getting calls. Like, they're just checking in, like, hey, you still quit? Still quit? You need anything?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be, I don't know if it's covered by insurance here. At the time when I was using a quitting aid, I don't know. If anybody out there knows, like, does insurance cover?
Insurance usually covers some things, so everyone should absolutely check on that. Smoking is the effects of smoking is super expensive for everybody. So, now governments and insurance companies are definitely trying to help, so you can get some amount of patches. And now there's like generic versions of them, so they're less expensive. I mean, I did find it at a certain point when I was approaching quitting that it was cheaper to get patches than it was to get cigarettes. So.
Okay. All right.
I mean, in New York, they're up to, I think, $15 or $16 a pack. So, I mean, that's like more than you spend on food in a day. So
that means it's got to be like $20 a pack here, at least.
Yeah.
If it's 15, 16 there. That's quite a daily investment of $20.
Yeah. So let's go over what we discovered about nicotine.
I didn't even get to say my thing. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Arian, you got to jump in. Me and Deborah talk a lot.
I brought it up specifically to talk about the doctors because I thought it was really funny because you were saying that, well, not funny, but you were saying that people don't, there's no research on the effects of nicotine if you're not smoking it or if it's not cigarettes, which specifically applied to me because I didn't smoke cigarettes. So I was trying to, like, as I'm getting healthier, figure out, like, so are these black and milds, like, are they bad just because I'm smoking them? Are they not bad at all? Or is all tobacco the devil, period? And I could not find anything besides just somebody kind of blindly saying smoking tobacco is bad, period. With like no evidence, no scientific data, just, it's all bad.
I went with it's all bad. I never broke it down. Cigarette, nicotine, I didn't. I was just like, it's all bad because whatever this thing is keeps bringing me back for more. And I don't like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think that's a great question. And I guess I also wonder, Arian, like if you did say to the doctor, I smoke black and mild sometimes, I wonder if they would even really recognize that as a problem. Like, they're so used to, because they're so used to focusing on like cigarettes. Like if you said I smoke a pack a day, then, they would say something. But if you're smoking one cigarello, every couple days, like.
Yeah. Which is, so it was weird. Like, it's not like I live in like a really like white place or something. So presumably she had other black patients, and most black people I know don't smoke cigarettes. They smoke something else if they smoke tobacco at all. And yes, I would tell her like, no, they're black and milds. And she straight up asked me like, what are those? And so I had to explain that to her. I don't feel so bad. And then she's like, oh, okay, well, it's tobacco. So like the same stuff I'm seeing online, it's bad. So it's bad. It's tobacco. So it's bad. And you need to stop. And like, she saw it as a problem because it was tobacco. And I have read that the same amount of that cigarillos are like multiple times the amount of tobacco that's in one cigarette. So if I'm smoking one of those a day, maybe it gets close to being equivalent to like a pack a week.
Oh, okay.
But it's less tobacco than the highest cigarette addiction. But yeah, she was just bad.
Yeah. Well, so let's just talk about nicotine straight up, because I think that we've got clarity that actually smoking inhaling any burning material is not good. And then on top of that, cigarettes have all kinds of additives in them, including sugar, which we learned from Gary Taubes' book, of sugar. I had no idea that curing tobacco leaves in sugar makes them more inhalable. So normally, if you were smoking tobacco that is just dried naturally, you would cough so much it would be very hard to inhale much at all. But by curing it in sugar, it makes it easier to take deeper inhalations, and that causes more damage. So that was great information to know. I didn't know any of that.
Well, the sugar industry, nicotine industry, tobacco.
And in fact, as cigarette smoking went down, they were looking for a new place to put their product, which that's how cigarettes moved into, that's how the tobacco industry moved into the snack industry, which I think is like utterly fascinating. And then they use the same as we learned from Joe Niflin, they use the same techniques to addict people to snack foods as they did to addict them to cigarettes. So there you go. But and I guess adding the sugar also makes cigarettes more addictive. So that's great.
But what you said, you don't smoke and eat dessert at the same time. I think you said no, that was wine. Sorry.
No, the cigarette was the dessert. And, when I had the combo of coffee and a cigarette or alcohol and a cigarette,
that's right.
That was all you needed.
Is that why they raise blood sugar? Or is that another effect?
So that's in Ben Bickman's book, Why We Get Sick. He talks about the toxins in the cigarette increasing glucose. Oh. He doesn't mention anything about sugar being mixed with tobacco. But he does say that the carcinogenic increases glucose and can cause insulin resistance.
So I've used to go on a website called Why Quit, I think, and it was just a huge compendium of information about quitting cigarettes, and it was just everything that you could possibly imagine, all the research, everything. But I remember reading they were talking about why you gain weight when you quit smoking, and this issue of the appetite. And so the thing that they said there is that when you smoke cigarettes, one of the things that nicotine does is release blood glucose into your bloodstream. So that's why, when you go to have that cigarette, it blunts your appetite because you've just brought your blood sugar up as if you ate something. So, and I remember reading way back when I was reading Atkins, he was saying for certain people who might have trouble losing weight, or getting into ketosis, or getting the pee sticks, because I think in one of the books they were talking about the pee sticks. If you had trouble getting that to turn and you smoke cigarettes, that might be the problem because it increases that blood glucose. So that's why I tell people, smoking a cigarette, forget about all the other bad stuff. Like it's like eating a little bit of a Hershey's Kiss every, 20 minutes or half hour or hour or however often you smoke. So, it's a problem.
It makes sense. Mm-hmm. It makes a lot of sense because it's true. There are some people who control their weight with cigarettes.
I did. And so for so long, if I had, a glass of wine and a cigarette, I didn't need to eat dinner. I could totally get by the sugar from the cigarette, and the sugar released into my bloodstream from the cigarette, and the sugar that's in the alcohol. That was enough to keep the party going. So for many years, I didn't really eat sweets, and it was like, I guess I can control, myself around M&Ms. Little did I know.
I've always felt that quitting smoking is more urgent than weight loss. I've just always felt that, to me, it didn't make any sense working to lose weight if you are smoking, or you go to the gym and you're working out and the guy next to you smells like an ashtray. I was like, I don't understand. That's defeating the purpose to me. I feel that And actually, it was easier for me to quit cigarettes than it was sugar.
I could see that.
It was easier. So get rid of the cigarettes. Just get them gone.
So, yeah. Arian, what do you say?
I mean, they definitely should be stopped. And I'm inclined to agree. I don't have enough data, but I just know that cigarettes cause like very immediate, very like easily discernible problems. Like one of my brothers in my organization, Groove, was telling me about after he quit. And it was like within a week, like he stopped coughing. And that just like, it feels kind of obvious that smoking, it's beaten, the horse is dead, and it's being beaten with all the commercials about like why you should quit, what smoking does to you, versus what sugar does to you, what your eating does to you. So it just seems way more obvious that everybody would be trying to quit. Like, even if you're like on the fence about eating or something, like, you know, someone who smokes and has lung cancer or has died of lung cancer, and you know that that's the connection. There's no debate about that.
Do you all remember, if you went for a couple of hours, maybe you don't, Arian, but A-Day, when you went for a couple of hours not having a cigarette and you finally had one, that you got this spinning like high in your head?
Well, if I was too hungry, I couldn't smoke. Like, I could be partially hungry and the cigarettes would take away appetite, but if I got to be too hungry, it would make me dizzy like that.
For me, if I went a few hours, so I didn't, catch that cigarette every hour or whatever it was, I went a few hours, I took my first drag and I felt this, I mean, come on, Deborah, hello, my body had actually was attempting to heal itself. I don't know how, I don't know what form, but it was attempting to heal itself in those hours that I had extended having my next cigarette. And then I took the drag of the cigarette and then right back to square one. And that's what I think with this Disney. I haven't looked into it. I don't know. But I feel like my body was like, what are you doing? I just spent these hours trying to fix this mess. I'm starting on it. And there you go and you're having another cigarette. That's why you feel lousy. I think that's the same reason with drinking. That's why you get loopy. And also the social aspect of it too. We haven't even talked about the social aspect of smoking.
You're calling it loopiness. For me, it was a high. And
loopy.
It was short-lived, but I wanted it to happen.
Yeah. Well, I like the social aspect of cigarettes, and that was the hardest thing, I think. So, sorry, before I dive right into this, one, hit the like button, subscribe, and the little bell icon so that you can get notification. And because we have lots of people in here, and there's still discussion about whether the volume is better. So I just turned mine down. I don't know if that's helped, but
I turned mine up a little bit.
I'm too loud. I don't know. I can't turn mine up.
No, you don't change anything, Deborah. Just leave it.
Okay, good. Because I don't know how to.
But the social aspect is something that I miss. And already, being carnivore, we're already doing things that make us a little bit odd when we go to parties or out to dinner. So, the cigarettes helped with social stuff, I think, before. But so many people have quit that it's now... it hurts with social stuff now. So it was actually a relief for me when I finally quit smoking and vaping. It was like, I don't have to carry anything with me. I can go out with, a mere like keys in my pocket and, my driver's license, and that's it.
And money, because you weren't spending it on cigarettes.
Yeah, having money. So, so it was really delightful to have that experience. And that was something that I noticed.
So you're right. When I first quit smoking, it did affect my social life because everybody I hung out with smoked. And for, I'd say, a good 6 months, I stopped hanging out with them. I didn't go to bars, anything of that sort, because I didn't want to get pulled back in. So it did affect my social life. But now on the other side of it, and I don't know, Ada, I've heard this said, ex-smokers are the worst. I cannot be around a smoker. The smell of it, or the smell of cigarettes, it's too strong. It's too much for me. I'm sorry to everybody out there who's smoking. I'm sorry, but I cannot take the smell of cigarettes, or I can't. It makes me feel nauseous.
They've always done that to me.
They've always made you feel nauseous?
Not feel nauseous, but cigarettes never smelled good.
I don't like them.
Black and mild, their smoke smells good. Cigars sometimes smell good. But
I will admit that I like the smell of tobacco. So when I was a kid, both my grandfather and my father smoked Pall Malls, and just the smell of tobacco on their hands, like the smell of tobacco before it burns, I love. And I have had perfumes that have the scent of tobacco in them. There's something about it that's very nostalgic for me. So a burning cigarette, yes, that smells gross. And now when I smell it, I think, oh God, what did I do to the world? This smell is horrible.
Yeah.
And sometimes my neighbor will smoke cigarettes, and I'm just like, oh, I can smell this in my apartment. It's so gross. What are you doing, lady?
Yeah.
So I don't give her a hard time about it, but it's yeah, I can't believe I used to do this.
I gave my neighbor a hard time about it. I turned into one of those people.
Oh God, I don't want to be one of those people.
I'm not going to tell you what happened to him. I'm not going to tell you. You can guess.
Deb, did you snitch?
No. Okay. I
guess yes.
No,
Yes.
The moral of the
Yes.
story is Deb snitched.
No. Okay. I'll tell you what happened to him. He died.
Oh.
But did you do it?
I did not do it. I did not. But he enraged me on a daily basis, especially in the summertime, because he was out there smoking away, and then he died. And then I was like, damn it, that's horrible news. Wait a second. I don't have to worry about the cigarette smoke anymore. What kind of a person does that make me? I don't know.
So what are the facts about nicotine?
Let's say let's get back on topic. So the pros might be it takes away your appetite. You get a little high, and the cons are huge. I don't think you lose weight. I think cigarettes kept me from gaining weight, but every time I quit, I gained the weight, and I thought, well, let me start smoking again, and I'll lose that weight. I never lost it. So I stayed the same, but I never went down again. So
that's good, because I don't want to add any good stuff to the list.
Yeah, I don't think cigarettes help you lose weight. They just help you not gain any more. But the cons are, it's going to make it hard to control your blood glucose. So it's going to make it hard for you to heal your metabolism. And I think that's a pretty big con. And then doesn't nicotine also cause vasorestriction? And that's part of the problem with how it causes your veins to constrict or to harden a little bit, and that's part of what contributes to the heart disease, which is separate and apart from the burning, the inhaling of burning material. It messes with your blood flow.
I would also imagine that would be ED, right? Some
probably.
So
another really good reason to quit smoking, gentlemen.
Cortisol and I think norepinephrine.
What?
I think it
we were
releases
still
stress.
lost in the land of ED, Arian.
Yeah, I know.
We missed that
The
part.
one time I feel like being serious is when no one else wants to.
We were still lost over there. What was that, Arian? What did you say?
I'm pretty sure it releases stress hormones. I think cortisol is one of them.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I agree. And yes, Leon Benjamin says pipe smoking had a nice smell. I agree. I think tobacco as a whole, it smells good. It's just cigarettes that don't smell good.
I think I understand what you're saying with that. Yes, I understand.
Yeah.
Except I don't think I could stand the smell of tobacco either. I remember it had a really sweet smell, like a really high smell.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And the other bad thing that goes along with smoking is less kisses.
I didn't have that.
No, not for me.
Nobody wanted to kiss me when I was smoking. No.
You're hanging out with the wrong class of people.
Right. Every once in a while, I would get told that my beard smelled like tobacco, and I'd go, wash it, and then go back getting kisses. Tobacco wasn't...
I'm ready!
And I can't...
It wasn't blocking my game.
I can't give kisses to smoking.
Yeah. Well, okay. I see the question here a bunch of times. How did we quit? Let's get back on track. How did we quit? So
that's Ade's job.
Right.
She's got to get us back on track.
Yeah. So for me, it was I switched to vaping. I was not interested at that point in quitting smoking. I just could no longer afford cigarettes, and at the time in New York, vaping was untaxed, so it was a cheaper option. So I went to vaping, and then after a couple weeks, it was like, this is way better than smoking cigarettes. Why have I not been doing this all along? And so then I did that for a couple more years, and then finally, quit when my asthma really got to its worst with that and the dairy. So I just quit cold turkey at that point.
How did you quit, Arian?
It was always cold turkey, because I've quit 2 or 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Once after college, and then once in my 20s, and then most recently. It just happened. Again, not doing cigarettes, it was so much easier to quit than what a lot of people with cigarettes seem to describe. So I think I made a conscious effort. The last time I made an effort to smoke less, because I realized that I was smoking really often, every day. And it would be not even just a couple puffs every day, but a whole black every day. And after a while, I just realized that it had been a week since I'd last used any, and I didn't want any more. That also coincided with me being carnivore. So carnivore may have helped it, but it's also not the first time I quit, and the other times were pretty easy too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Carnivore Mystic is getting us back on track again. Cold turkey, do you have any withdrawal symptoms? Yes. Yes. It's a major drug.
I didn't go cold turkey. I didn't do that.
I didn't have withdrawal symptoms.
You weren't bitchy. Well, I'm sorry. I should not have said that. You weren't cranky and irritable and difficult to be around for any point after you quit? Because those are withdrawal symptoms. Oh, okay. All right. Well,
no, this is
I was.
I may not have been addicted.
He forgot to smoke. Yeah. I did not forget to smoke.
I did not forget, and I was not pleasant to be around. But I absolutely 100% think being carnivore absolutely helped. It was, I've quit many times in my life. I started smoking cigarettes when I was 13, and I've quit many times throughout life. But the last time I was carnivore, and that helped tremendously. I was able to, I had, the energy and the mood and all of that stuff like sort of under control. So I don't think that the symptoms were as bad, and I wasn't using cigarettes to give me energy in the same way that I had been using them in the past. Because I realized, when you feel bad from all the sugar, you're also looking to the cigarettes to help give you that boost. What do you say, Deborah?
I quit smoking like 20 years ago, I think. I quit smoking 20 years ago. I sent away from my packet. That's why it was snail mail. See, you guys were laughing because I said I wrote to them. But this was 20 years ago, so I wrote to them.
The internet
they sent
existed.
me a package.
The internet was a thing 20 years ago.
Yeah, but government wasn't.
The government. So anyway, so my package, and I use Nicorette. So the Nicorette, I made a conscious decision to make sure that it was a manual thing that I had to do with the Nicorette, that I had to engage my mouth, and that it had to be an act similar to cigarette smoking. The patch, I don't even think I tried it, but I had to associate the Nicorette with that. And I even went outside and I chew Nicorette. I never chewed Nicorette inside my apartment, inside my office, nothing. I had to go outside and physically engage with the Nicorette. And that was about 3 months, I think. And then after 3 months, I kind of was weaning off of the Nicorette, and I just eventually stopped. But remember, I was very excited too. I was very excited about the prospect of quitting smoking. Yeah.
Is your camera
got
okay?
an overlay.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
There.
I think I might have been recording this whole time. God.
We get to watch it again.
Oh, yeah. Delight.
So yeah, I mean, and I think I had tried maybe 3 times. That was my 3rd time quitting smoking. The first time I tried to quit with my ex. We tried to quit together. That's just dumb.
Yeah.
The second time, I saw the movie Smoking. I can't remember the name of the director, but I think Johnny Depp was in the movie. And there was a scene. Yeah, there was a scene in the movie, and I was like, there was a line. It was a specific line about quitting smoking, and I was like, that's it for me. And I did actually pretty good. I went for like 6 months or something. Then I went back to the nicotine, and then the 3rd time I was successful.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. So we should probably move on to caffeine. But, the moral of the story here with nicotine is that, there are still members of our community who do smoke. And I know, people have been so shamed about it that, they get that there is a problem. But I do like to mention the stuff about blood sugar because I don't think that people think about that. Like if you're trying to lose weight on a keto diet, smoking is actually going to work against you. And, you should know that, so it's not just that cigarettes are bad for you, but it's going to make it harder for you to get the deep level of ketosis and heal your metabolism. So that's what that's the information that I want people to take away from this particular segment. What do you guys say?
I just want people to quit smoking.
Yeah.
And I would say that's the same with alcohol too. Like, even though we can say that alcohol, like, it only pauses your ketosis and stuff, like, it's still, like, neither of these are good for your metabolism.
Oh, I want to add, I nearly forgot. I have to go back again to Ben Bickman's book, Dr. Ben Bickman's book. He says in the book that nicotine gum and vaping both increase insulin and cause insulin resistance.
There you go.
Wait, he says nicotine gum and
vaping.
Yeah, so nicotine on its own, separate from smoking cigarettes, increases insulin resistance. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that's great information. So going to a ketogenic diet, and here you are trying to help yourself, you're actually obstructing those efforts. And if you find that you're not losing weight at the speed that you want, or you're having still a lot of cravings and you're not getting the healing that you want, that's really the place to look. So,
healing,
all right. Yeah.
The healing you want.
Well, that's what we talk about here, healing. It's not,
right?
I mean, weight loss is one aspect of healing, but it's not the only thing. And there's a lot of ways to lose weight that are not going to lead to longer lasting health. And we don't encourage those ways. We encourage ways that are going to lead you to longer health. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so let's move on to caffeine. I know that there were some questions about it. And I think it's apropos that Seabliss posted, "What's in A Day's cup?" It is coffee, black coffee, very bad, very bad.
At least it's black coffee. It's not your bulletproof.
Yeah,
coffee.
I'm off the bulletproof. I don't know. Something happened a couple days ago, or maybe even a week ago. I was having some, and I just got really nauseous, and I just I can't eat. I can't have this.
Really?
Yeah. So I think I had hit my fat consumption for the day, and because I've been even though I only posted recently on Instagram the dipping sauce, I've actually been doing that for a while now. So I've just been having a lot of fat, and I think that day I had hit my limit. And it was just oh my God, I'm gonna die.
And so you are now turned off. You're just
yeah,
I don't want the bulletproof coffee due to the association.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm definitely done with it. Oh my goodness. All right, I'm gonna have to deal with this. But you guys keep talking. Yes, you keep talking.
So, Deborah, do you still drink coffee?
I do. I still have my extra large coffee in the morning. That's the only time. And it is Tim Hortons. And it is double cream.
But
I think it's cream. I don't know if it's really cream. I don't know. But there's two of them.
Oh, so you're getting two creams, not
double. No sugar.
All right,
just two creams.
See, I don't. Okay, I think I know what that means. I don't live this going to the coffee house life. So
now there is a coffee language at Tim Hortons, to my Canadian peeps, and I don't even know what the Tim Hortons language is, because you can get a regular coffee, which actually means something. I think it means one cream or one milk, one sugar. You can get a double, which is two sugars, two creams, or two milk. There's language around it, just like at Starbucks. There's language associated with it. I don't know what those are. I always just say, "Can I get two creams, please?" Because I don't know. If I tell them, "Can I get double cream?" I don't know what I'm going to get.
Okay, so that's why I was asking. So that cream is most likely half and half, not heavy cream.
That's a good possibility. That's possible.
Because I know in some places, I think in Europe.
Oh, I hate having coffee in Europe.
Heavy cream is called something else. It's not called heavy cream over there.
Oh, I hate having coffee in Europe. They don't believe in cream. Putting cream in your coffee. Hey, Ade!
Hey!
Now there's no coffee.
I'm back.
Hi. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too. Oh, this totally solves all the problems. Yeah.
Jane and I were just talking about coffee. Yeah.
I know, I can hear you. Regular coffee in New York is milk and 2 sugars. And in the old days, you could just say that, and people would know. But now, I say black, no sugar. And they're like, milk? Black, no sugar. So sugar, how many? And it's oh, seriously, what do I have to say?
You ask for cream in your coffee in Europe, and they're like... And the coffee is dark, really dark coffee.
Yeah.
Yuck.
They don't mess around
Absolutely.
with that stuff
Yuck.
in Europe.
So somebody asks, why is bulletproof coffee bad? It's not bad necessarily. It's just, it's a ton of calories. And if you're trying to control your weight, that's not helpful. But, if it's not a problem, then it's fine, I guess, except what Arian learned from Dr. Ali. Let's actually go back to that, because didn't we put up a post or something about that? Did somebody do that?
So.
Did we talk?
Not us. We talked about it on the show once.
Okay.
But even more than that, I just basically feel like we really shouldn't be drinking our nutrition.
That's true.
You shouldn't be getting a ton of fat or most of your fat or just any significant amount from stuff that you drink. It should come in the food that you eat.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't cite science to back that up. That's just my feeling about how eating is supposed to happen.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I prefer to eat my food, and it's probably not ideal to be drinking your food. So,
yeah.
And I have the same feelings about protein shakes, smoothies, all drinkable foods. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I used to do keto chow shakes, and I stopped doing those because it was like all of my calories were coming from heavy cream for that whole meal.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what you mean, Arian. You're talking about the heavy cream.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
I don't believe in protein shakes, or I used to believe in protein shakes, but I don't anymore.
Yeah.
Any type of shake.
Yeah.
So I'm imagining Beefcake Deb going into the gym.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did you see those 8A? Did you see that?
Yeah. Look at those guns.
Y'all can't see it in the video, but
Sorry, passport.
I see Irma. Irma says you use natural sweeteners in your coffee. So I do not. I do not use any sweet things. I don't think that it's helpful to me, and it only kicks up cravings. And I do not recommend that people use any kind of sweetener, at all on Carnivore. So that being said, there are definitely people who do it. I know that there are people who do okay with certain sweeteners and not so well with others. So, there is, and perhaps we should do a show. I think there's 9 or maybe 11 different kinds of sweeteners, from sugar to sweet to sugar alcohols to, xylitol to, I don't know. There's a bunch of different kinds, and different people have different responses to them. I decided to give up trying to, find one that worked and didn't give me cravings and, was okay, and just, lean into savory tastes, because I think that my brain lights up with the taste of sweet, and that's in and of itself the problem. So I don't recommend it. There are people in our group who manage to be able to control their appetite, their weight, and their health is fine, and they do it. But I think it's hard.
Yeah. And I'll say, so I'm not going to call the person out by name, but there's one person in our group who right now is, they're new, and with their coffee, they have stevia. And I just told them, okay, so for right now, it's only 1 cup of coffee. You're not putting a ton of stevia in it. It's fine. Eventually, I'd like to see you get off the stevia. But if you're working on fat adaptation, there are bigger fish to fry. That's the bigger fish to fry than, I got to quit stevia right now.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I'd agree with that. I would agree with that. I too, just like you said, 8A leaned into savory. Just leaned into savory. No sweet taste. Like bone marrow, raw bone marrow is sweet to me now.
Mm-hmm. Eggs, I find, are sweet to me. Yeah. And scallops. Oh, scallops.
You said
sweet.
Scallops
I haven't had any
sweet.
Scallops.
Tastes sweet to me.
Eggs?
Eggs.
Yeah, and eggs too. They
Yeah.
absolutely, especially with butter. It's like candy.
Yeah.
I have not gotten there yet.
So yeah, I absolutely lean into savory, and I too feel that I would be triggered by anything that tastes sweet. And in a way, it's not logical for me. It doesn't make sense anymore. Like, I don't even understand the point of having something sweet when it's not, it doesn't play a role in my life anymore. So,
so yeah,
Yeah.
I don't put any sweetener in my coffee either.
Yeah.
I have gone back to drinking some coffee. It's weakened, it's half strength, and I'm only having about 1 cup a day. But
so actually, you had quit for was it a week, or how long did you quit for?
it was probably about 2.5 weeks, I think.
Yeah. So Arian and I agreed together that we would both quit and we would see how we did. So the next day I forgot and drank coffee. And then the day after I remembered but still drank coffee. And then, there we go. So, but Arian went ahead and did it for 2.5 weeks. So tell us, what did you notice the differences were?
So my sleep definitely changed. And props to you for telling on yourself, because I wasn't going to call you out this time. But I really appreciate the honesty and the openness that we're having on this live. It makes me feel safe.
Getting naked while you smoke cigarettes, like that's it's helpful that you started the ball off being so open about that.
And then he threw on a smoking jacket.
Which is even better. I love it.
All these things happened apparently. So
while sipping your coffee.
Right.
But sorry, you were saying that your sleep got better, and
I think there was a couple times that I did go outside in a robe, sit on my balcony, and drink coffee before I went to work. And
thank goodness you had a robe on.
I might have smoked at the same time.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah,
good stuff.
That's a good morning.
Yeah.
So
recently?
No.
Oh, okay.
Now it would be minus the smoking. But the quitting coffee it regulated my sleep again, where I was telling you guys for a while, like, it was really hard for me to go to sleep before like 1:30 in the morning. I got back to getting sleepy before 11 now. So my sleep moved up and the quality of sleep got better. I'm waking up a lot better. So that's been great. And so far, having reintroduced a much smaller amount of coffee, still sleeping good.
Okay, so that's actually really important to note. If you have any kind of sleep problems, this could be a part of it. How about you, Deb?
Didn't make any difference for me. I had mentioned that I did quit drinking coffee for that whole year, and I didn't notice any difference when I went back to the coffee. There was no difference.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I heard an interview with Amber O'Hearn, and I think it was Amber O'Hearn or Georgia.
No, Amber O'Hearn. I remember she talked about it. What did she say?
Was like,
Tell us what she said.
I drank coffee, and then I quit drinking coffee, and then I drank coffee, and then I realized there's no difference, and I'm the same.
Yeah. So I've definitely noticed a difference when I've quit smoking. Quit drinking coffee. I got a lot better sleep and less anxiety on a day-to-day basis. So that's actually kind of a big deal.
But now I only have 1 coffee a day. If I were to drink coffee throughout the day, I think we'd have a whole different story here.
Yeah. And that's where, for me, when it was messing me up, I was drinking 4 cups every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about where I am. 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, that'd be a whole different thing.
Yeah.
But there's something about Tim Hortons coffee too. Obviously, this is just me, but after the first cup, I don't want to smell it. I don't want another one. I am
Who
done.
is this guy, Tim? You're always talking about Tim.
He's a hockey player. He was a hockey player, and then they opened up Tim Hortons restaurant.
He's
All right.
Deb's secret boyfriend.
Evidently.
He's passed. I keep talking about people who have passed.
He makes really good coffee.
But he does make really good coffee.
Cup.
Yeah.
Only the first cup is good.
Yeah. I think Wendy's owns it now. Wendy's or...
Well, anyway, Miss M says, doesn't coffee mess with your hormones in a bad way? Heavier periods and cycle changes? I've definitely heard that. I don't know, but I've heard that. I've heard that. Okay, I didn't expect you to, Arian, but
well, I watched the videos of people talking about stuff.
I haven't heard it.
I would think.
Well, because I had endometriosis and really bad cramps and that kind of thing, like I have looked into things that affect menstrual cycle, and definitely coffee was one of the things that were like, you got to quit. But, there's never any explanation for why. So, when you're looking at stuff in the all-natural world and, it's like, cut out these 500 things, and then here are these 50 other things that you can have, and it's like, there's not really an explanation for why, and, it's all about, it clogs the pipes, I don't know, but, so coffee was one of the things.
Yeah.
Okay.
When the medical establishment does try to give diet advice, it's like real shotgun, like, you may need to stop consuming one or all of these 1,000 things.
Yeah.
Make sure you eat carrots because they've got vitamin C in them. Mm-hmm. There's no...
Yeah.
Still haven't explained why I need to eat carrots. I don't get it.
And you haven't told me why that vitamin is good for this thing that we're talking about, but I should just do that. Yeah.
Because carrots contain 1 milligram of vitamin C.
Oh, and coffee, I see Irma asked, does coffee cause your blood pressure to increase? And I think the answer to that is there's conflicting studies, but some studies say yes and other studies say no. That's what I've seen. Well, how about you, Arian? Have you looked at that?
No, I have no idea.
I think you should go with the one that makes you quit coffee if you feel that you need to.
Sure.
I mean, for me, I never felt any blood pressure differences, even when I was.
Well, how would you?
Well, I can definitely feel when I have low blood pressure.
No, well, high. Increase.
And there are things that come with high blood pressure, aren't there?
I mean, when it's super high, yes, but not when it's just kind of high. That's why it's such a deadly killer, because there's no symptoms until you have the stroke.
Oh, well then, yeah, I guess I wouldn't know.
Or I don't know, until it's frighteningly high, but when it's moderately, or if it's beginning to be high, like you wouldn't be able to tell. In any event, yes, as far as I could tell from studies, there's some studies that support having a moderate amount of caffeine, and others that don't. So I think that you're going to have to decide whether the studies are provide enough information for you to feel confident. Let's see. And then Carnivore Mystic says stimulants can keep muscles from relaxing. Might have to do potassium going out from all the urinating since coffee's a diuretic. I don't know. Maybe. It is a diuretic. And, that's the other con that I have with caffeine is that I think that it messes with my hydration, partly because it's a diuretic and because I'm not consuming electrolytes with it. It really knocks me off balance and makes me much more dehydrated than if I had had nothing at all.
And for me, if I'm just doing 1 cup, and I do put salt in my coffee, I don't feel like it really messes with my electrolyte levels.
Mm-hmm. So where do we stand on caffeine? I say, make the effort to try it for yourself and give yourself a real test and see where you are. But there are definitely people who have found a significant benefit to not drinking it, and then other people who have found no difference. So, I would say...
If you're having 1 cup of coffee a day. if you're having coffee throughout the day, that might be something you might want to look at. But if you don't have like a need to drink coffee throughout the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I really wonder for the folks who feel like coffee doesn't make that much of a difference for them or it doesn't affect them. What would that be like if you were having more of it? Because the coffee drinkers are the ones, like there was one guy at my job who had one of those, those big thermoses that people take camping. He would fill up one of those at least twice every day.
Twice.
Coffee. Wow. Yeah. That'll do it.
Yeah. Like I can only imagine what his body was like.
Yep, that'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so there is that. And let's see, Romeo says put a little sea salt in your coffee. Yeah. Sometimes I do that with the bulletproof coffee, but, it doesn't, I can't really do that with the regular. And even when I do, I don't know, it doesn't, just seems to be something about caffeine that just throws off my hydration period. So, so I don't know. Mm-hmm. But so at the end of the day, caffeine, you got to test. And my only recommendation would be if you do choose to quit and you get those caffeine headaches, I recommend using L-tyrosine. So that can fill, the receptors in your brain so you don't get that headache that comes from quitting caffeine. And so, it gives you a little bit of time and, your brain can reset and then you can get off the caffeine without the headaches. So if that's been an obstacle for you, it's pretty cheap to pick up L-tyrosine and try that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think probably for me, the main drawbacks to drinking coffee are, well, one, you should get down to a reasonable level if you're drinking a lot. Like I
get the message. 1 cup. One.
It can even be extra large if you want. It could be extra large.
Well, no, I'm not gonna. No, I'm not gonna go with that. I guess I'm calling both y'all out because I don't know how big this extra large is, but I imagine it's probably equivalent to 3 cups.
No.
That looks like equivalent to 3 cups. Ain't it? Am I crazy?
No.
How many ounces is that?
It's like, what is that? Like.
Let's see. Now it's getting small.
I mean, I'm assuming you're having 16 ounces, which is that's almost 3 cups.
Well, how did this all of a sudden turn on me? I don't
know.
Y'all are, everybody's being called out, but y'all are the ones on the live with me. But yeah, I feel like it needs to get down to a reasonable point. Like I was really surprised in the Atkins book. I'm reading Atkins 72, everybody, like the 1972 edition, the first Atkins book. And he says for people that you can drink coffee, just don't drink any more than 6 cups. And I'm like, holy 6 cups? That's a lot. That's a lot of coffee to tell somebody that they can drink in a day. And you're telling them, oh, yeah, this diet is going to make you feel so much better. And I'm like, but think of what all that caffeine could be doing to them.
Well, why did he even bother putting a restriction on it?
Right, at 6. Like.
Well, but I think that the other thing is back then the serving sizes were smaller. So when you got a cup of coffee, it was 6 ounces. And so I see Virginia says 16 ounces is 2 cups. So it is 2 cups, but what's considered a serving or a cup of coffee is actually 6 ounces. Yep. So when they said 6 ounces back then, I mean, 36 ounces is still a lot, but it's not.
That's what I'm thinking.
But it's not as much as we might be thinking it is. And I think it was also weaker coffee. So, yeah.
That second part is what I would give him an excuse for. But the 2 ounces more per cup, like, no, I'm thinking of a 6 ounce cup of coffee. And I'm thinking 6 of those still feels like a lot to me to be telling people like, hey, we're going to get you healthy. 6 cups of coffee, that's all good.
Well, I mean, remember, what was that book? Blake Donaldson, who, that was a doctor, like, I don't know, he had the all-meat diet. That was his thing, too. Like, this diet has been prescribed for quite some time. But even in the Banting book, like, I think a diet was, like, the meat, a little bit of vegetable, and 2 shots of whiskey a day. like, over different time periods, there were certain foods included that was just like, what?
Yeah, and I'm not saying that like, oh, this means Atkins is trash, but there are multiple things that I'm surprised about in the Atkins book, and that is one of them, that he allowed so much coffee. But anyway, my point is just that I feel like people should get down to a reasonable amount of coffee. And I don't think 6 cups is that. I don't really think like 4 or 5 is that either. And you get it down to a level where you can be sure that like it's not affecting your sleep so much, and it's not affecting your electrolytes. Because for me, those are the 2 biggest cons to coffee. There's the blood pressure thing too, but I feel like eating carnivore is going to naturally lower your blood pressure to such a great extent. But that diuretic effect and the effect on sleep, I think, are huge.
Yeah.
Good points, Arian. If you're eating carnivore, these effects aren't necessarily the same as if you were on a standard American diet.
Yeah. So caffeine is definitely the hardest one, I think, for, of our list. The alcohol maybe and caffeine are the hardest ones to wrest out of people's hands. So people definitely give me a lot of pushback about caffeine, but
okay, and not wanting to. Okay.
Yeah. And alcohol.
The nicotine is like, oh, you've been told since you were a kid, stop smoking.
It's true.
Yeah. So, I recommend, letting it go and seeing how you respond. And then, you decide from there. I see Sharave says, gave up coffee, but it was a slow transition. I hated relying on it for energy and rather spend money on real foods. It's a preference thing for most. Yeah, maybe. Okay, so let us go on to CBD and THC. Man, and it's already almost 9 o'clock. Deb, how are you doing? Okay.
We might have to have a part 3.
I think it's possible. I'm wondering if we shouldn't begin part 3, like, end now.
I'm thinking we should have a part 3.
Yeah.
We could do that.
So, but I am really excited to talk about CBD and THC. I think that, yes. I mean, I think that those are substances that people, consume. And I think that we need to provide some information as it relates to the carnivore diet without judgment. So that is what we're doing here. And as I said before, like, I think for optimal health, like, we're not using any substances. What you do on a day-to-day basis, that's kind of up to you. But optimal health, I think, is eating a carnivore diet, a strict carnivore diet, and, testing and seeing what feels best to you. So, I guess, let's do a part 3. So, shall we continue this on Thursday?
I say we continue it on Thursday.
Okay.
And we can even talk a little bit about sleep, too, along with that THC CBD conversation.
Okay.
Well, at least I can, because that's...
Okay. So I might be the only person who, like, I don't know. I have no trouble sleeping, so I have trouble staying awake.
Cliffhanger!
So, but you have a story. No, but you have a story to tell, Deborah, about sleep. So I'm very curious to hear more about that. We're going to let's talk about those things. Okay. So... Yeah. All right. So we're gonna do a part 3, and everybody here, like, can you make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the little bell icon, and and let me know and comment on this video. Once we get out of here, like it's actually very helpful for the video if you do comment. But I think this is a topic that we want to keep going and we want people to continue to engage with. So I encourage you to share this also with people that you know who might find it interesting, and and let's keep going with it.
Part trois.
Yeah.
And if you have questions for the CBD THC talk, put those in the comments and we can make sure we hit those in the conversation.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, yeah. And and the other thing was, well, thank you all for watching Deb's How We Met video. I hope you had a chance to watch it. It was just such a fun conversation, so I was glad to put it out there. But I definitely got a few comments from people like, "Where's this book club?" And I forgot about that. So it did exist, but some events occurred in June that led it to not exist anymore. But yeah. So
that's a non-answer.
I love it.
Yeah. So there were people involved that didn't want to spend more time with. So So, but I think it would be nice to have another book club, perhaps. So I would love to hear from you if whether we should attempt to bring something like that back. If you can put in the chat or send me more messages and let me know. Let me see how many people are interested, because Deb is reading Ben Bikman's book. I would love to read it, but I'm so busy that having somebody else do the cliff notes for me would be super helpful.
And you know what?
Yeah.
It's actually pretty great that people asked about the book club, because that was at the end of the interview. Well, we talked about that at the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. So
people hung in there.
Yeah. So that's pretty awesome. So that's, I think that's it. And I will see you guys on Thursday. So thanks for having the convo with us. All right, guys. Bye.
Good night, everybody. Bye.